Thank you, everyone. I think it's almost lunchtime. We'll try to keep it short and crisp of this particular discussion. But as everyone knows, there's been a lot of noise in terms of a lot of capital is being induced into this space. There's a lot of prop techs which have cropped up in post-COVID. As everyone knows, a lot of people are sitting in this room right now as we speak. And there's a lot of projects which have been launched by various developers across the country. And sales have been booming across the country. And again, there's a lot of developers in this room who have seen exponential growth in terms of their organization as well. So taking this into consideration, my question to the panel is, you have a lot of projects coming in, there's a lot of prop techs which have cropped up, there's a lot of capital also which has been induced into these developments. How do you see that? Is all three going together? People will be successful, or it can be, can go parallelly, right? Building concrete, builders, building the buildings, technology, all these can go parallel, or they should go together. Over to you, Viswa.
Thank you, Gopal. Very good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see the room quite full. So good question, Gopal. Actually, I would say that all three go together. Literally, because I've seen, not only being for a long time in the industry, being in the same organization for so long, I've seen how we grew. Yes, we just started with just concrete, I would say. But of course, then technology added on. And then without capital, what's the growth that one can get? The scale that's required. I would say that all the three would go together.
Vivek, yourself, what is your view on this?
So I think there is a fourth C, which is customer. So I believe that all three are chasing the customer. I'll give you an example. Before COVID, the digital payments, things like e-signatures, they were like almost, customers were hesitant to do large payments through digital. But after COVID, things changed, and developers, brokers, entire ecosystems also adopting those modes. Similarly, if you look at VR tools are picking up now, right? Customers want update on WhatsApp. So I believe that between the three of these, capital, code, and concrete, it's a customer who is the king, and customer is forcing the other three to adopt digital technologies. So that's my view.
All right.
Akhil, your point of view on this, because you've been in this industry and working with a lot of developers as well. So it's interesting that you ask this, right? Because see, capital, code, and concrete obviously go together. Thank you, Vivek, for saying customer as well, because that's sort of what we focus on. And yes, the customer is what dictates how much tech adoption happens inside a building, right? If you look at it from a hierarchy perspective, capital is obviously the most important thing for concrete to be there. But if you take code and you split engineering between mechanical engineering, which is running your lifts, and code, which is there, right? Code is still the least important of the lot, right? There is a lot more that needs to be achieved.
And for that, we need better prop tech, right? We need to create innovations in the building to get the next generation of buildings created. Like today, if we take the cell phone industry, right? No manufacturer can sell without Android, right? Barring Apple. So if no manufacturer can sell without Android, that is the power of code. Like earlier, you'd buy Nokia, right? You didn't care about what software existed inside. We believe that the next generation is going to be powered by the operating system of a building, and that's sort of why we are building the Android of real estate.
All right, great. Thanks, Akhil. And Arvind, your view on...
I think my view is not different than my partners. I would add, certain aspects to it. Just extend, employee is another aspect. So, without making employees' workplace, to better to perform, you can't achieve what you want to achieve.
Right.
So that's another critical. Then processes. How, how one organization differs from other organization in same industry. A lot of things are decided not by capital, just capital or technology. They are decided by employees and processes.
Right.
So I think they also play a critical role.
So are you saying, as everyone called out customer, everyone are working towards customer as such. So you're putting processes and all of that in the forefront.
Yeah.
Other
So
than customers.
your core is customer, as my
Right.
friend said. You are doing everything around customer.
Right.
If customer doesn't like you, you can't move, even if you have technology or capital also.
Great. Akhil, I think you mentioned very interesting aspect to start off in the previous point, saying that capital is the most important part of this journey. A lot of PropTechs are here who would wanting to raise a lot of capital in order to, as Arvind mentioned, going in, and technology is also an important aspect which everyone spoke. So what is your journey being in terms of raising capital or in terms of funding?
Right. Okay. So I'm going to be honest, and I'll take an extra minute to explain this.
Absolutely.
So some background, we've raised 13 crores, a couple of rounds between IPV and HDFC that we've done. And these are angels and a PE, right? So it's the two ends of the spectrum of this. What we don't have is a venture capital, right? And you'd expect that, there's 100 parameters, you achieve this, you're going to get venture capital. We did 2,000 crores of referral sales last year. We've done 2,000 crores of referral sales this year, April to now. I hate to break it to you, but it's still very hard to get capital, right? The traditional VC model does not align with PropTech. And that's sort of the core problem that exists inside the PropTech ecosystem. So a VC fund has a 7-year life cycle. So every fund manager is thinking that I need to give an exit within the first 7 years. Most of you who've been in PropTech have seen that those cycles to actually close a contract can be anywhere 3 to 6 months, right? So it takes a lot of effort to actually close your first contract. And the demonstration of the effectiveness of that is also much longer, right? So the product life cycle of a building is much, much longer, right? The product life cycle takes a while to adopt also inside the ecosystem. So by the time that you get your first pilot out, it's like a year in. By the time the results come out, it's another year gone. So by the time that you can start going out to the industry and show that, okay, I'm making a dramatic difference to you, it's a long, long time, right? So for you to get the venture capital, you need to show within that 2 years that of you raising that you have to raise the next round, right? So that's the treadmill that you have to run on, right? And you have to be ready to run on that treadmill. So you need to mentally be ready to have a groundbreaking model which is easy for developers to adopt, and you can roll it out and prove your results quickly, right? That's the only kind of PropTech that will be able to align with venture capital, right? And if you look around, there hasn't been too many large outcomes that have come out of PropTech just yet, right? So VCs look for large outcomes, right? So 99 Acres is stuck at like 100 crores a quarter, Magic Bricks, Housing.com, right? I don't want to take names. But they were the first generation, right? So they've scaled, built something. The second generation of PropTechs hasn't really scaled, right? So there is a beacon of hope that is missing, right? And funnily enough, we were just having this conversation before, and I realized that the beacon of hope for the entire industry of PropTech is sitting next to me, which is Vivek. And Vivek is going to be doing an IPO. And as a PropTech founder, I kid you not, we all have to hope for supernormal returns to come out of Square Yard's IPO, which will literally, galvanize the entire industry to invest in PropTech more and more. All our valuations is going to be linked to how Square Yards and Aurum PropTech, the two listed PropTech companies, perform. So, yeah.
So great, great view. Since you mentioned Vivek,
Thank you, Akhil, for so nice words. But
Absolutely.
I don't think, see, I'll tell you our fundraising journey.
Sure.
And it was not smooth. It is a bit convoluted. So we started in 2014. And when we started, a lot of hyper funding in PropTech happened, like, housing.com, Common Floor, and a lot of other PropTech, they raised like tons and millions of money. And when we actually went to VCs to raise money, they said that ab to ho gaya hai sector mein. The people who ought to get funded, they are funded. So we kept on working on our stuff. We were a primary market real estate brokerage player. So we kept on working on that. After a few years, these companies, they started dying down. But another interesting thing which happened was the real estate market. If you look at from 2014 to 2020, right, it was not doing so well.
Yeah.
And a lot of VCs and a lot of PE guys, they have personally invested in real estate and their projects were stuck or they had lost money. So when we again went back to them, like we had good growth in that period. We were the only positive beta in the negative industry. So when we again went back to them in 2018-19, they said, "Yeah, real estate का कुछ नहीं हो सकता. Real estate is dead." So again, we focused on what we were doing. We focused on our customers. We focused on doing business. So we kept on working like that. And at some point of time, for scaling, you need money, right? So we, instead of going at one point of time, we said to hell with VCs and Ps, we will raise smart money from individual investors. We'll raise debt. Obviously, you have to service the debt, but we were successful in raising the debt because we had revenues to back and we were at the verge of profitability. So we raised lots of money from individual investors, from debt funds and all, and we kept on fueling our growth. So fast forward to today, we are by far one of the largest players. The money is still not easy. Right now, like, even if we have to do a pre-IPO placement, right, people still say, as Akhil was saying, that the VC and PE traditionally, they look for very outsized returns, right? And real estate traditionally has been a slow adopter. So to give them those kind of outsized returns, unless you have a growth trajectory which is like going out of bounds, it's very difficult. So my advice, looking at our journey to all the PropTechs, is that just keep on working on your business, try to survive. Even if you survive, the industry is growing at such a pace right now. Even if you are able to survive for next 5-10 years, you will grow pretty big. So don't chase VCs and Ps, focus on your customers and keep doing your work, put your heads down and keep doing your work.
So Vivek, before just going to Arvind, so are you saying that for, as Akhil mentioned, it's difficult, you also mentioned it is difficult. Is debt is the way to go?
I'm not saying debt is the only way to go, but if you can service debt, I think debt is, for us, debt has worked because you're not, as Akhil was also saying, you're not riding a tiger, right? If a VC and PE is on your cap table, he would continuously push you for growth at the cost of profitability, growth at the cost of other things that you would take control on, right? And sometimes that growth becomes uncontrollable. We have seen numerous examples in PropTech, people who have raised large amount of money, right? And they were not able to sustain that growth and they eventually died down.
All right. Thanks, Vivek. Arvind, I'm sure in your journey, you would be meeting a lot of PropTechs coming to you. You would be seeing a lot of demos. So what is your view on this? I mean, can developers actually, do you look to fund from your side certain PropTechs? What is your view? I mean,
I think my view is PropTechs are like, startups, boutique startups, they are not like Microsofts of the world. So they are at a position where they can't, define the terms of the game.
right.
That is their, negative side of, whole positioning. But at the same time, I think PropTech are solving the problems which the big OEMs are not able to. Those OEMs have kept the, loose nut and bolt somewhere where these PropTechs are born to solve certain niche areas. So no, those niche areas are to be solved. That's why they are born. But the way it will work is it will be more like collaborate with partners like us, and it could be cost to cost probably to start with, instead of seeing for making money to start itself. Right. So as my friend said, you have to stay with the belief of your concept, and you just keep working on it. Right. So as a business, we can give the opportunity that I always support and I would keep supporting. But the PropTech has to be also ready, with a very optimistic approach and flexible approach where 6 months, 1 year, maybe 2 years, we might have to run the show to show the results.
Right.
Once you show the results, it's easy.
Right. So are you saying that probably once PropTech shows results, it is easier to go out and get funding, and it is much easier to
much
scale?
easier. And once you have some valued partners on board, it's easier to go to other partners also.
Right.
But you have a success story.
Right.
If you don't have success story, just the concept, it doesn't work.
Okay. So
sorry, can I just add one thing to it?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Because I said a lot of things, and it's important to validate what he's saying. Once you have a pilot in place and once you have the results behind you, right? Like then companies are rich enough to pay you, right? Like real estate has a lot of money. You don't need to go to VCs to fund your entire growth journey, right? Like companies will carry you, right? Like builders also want this sector to evolve. They're there to support you in every which way. You just need to align with a real problem that they need a solution for.
I think for them it's easy because they have the opportunities, ample opportunity in the market, and we are ready to partner.
Right.
The only thing is sticking with the concept. Like I can give example like Paytm. When Paytm started, it was putting those codes everywhere on petrol pumps and everywhere. People were laughing. What is this nonsense?
Right.
But when demonetization happened, it flied overnight.
Right. So you're saying look for an opportunity and then market yourself, be there, and then.
And the other thing is, when you start with a partner like us, your product might refine also because we have the real use case.
Right.
So when you work together, actually we are building it together that way. So we are partnering with you.
Right.
So I would suggest the startups, PropTech startups, to be more flexible and to be more optimistic. And third thing is their solutions should be integration should be easy with the ecosystem. Right. Otherwise, what happens? You are just solving one niche area, but it's a standalone sitting somewhere.
Right.
So that becomes another problem because when you talk about scalability and other things, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If your solution doesn't fit into the enterprise ecosystem.
All right. So thanks, Arvind. You're part of business, Viswa, and how do you actually, from your lens, do you actually look at various PropTechs and say, okay, let's look at this, let's fund this? Those kind of views come in your daily journey?
Of course. So like Akhil was mentioning, Arvind was mentioning.
And if those things come in, why we are not seeing developers jumping in and saying, okay, let me take over that PropTech, right? So what's your view on that?
So what's the root of any startup? It's a pain point. It's an opportunity that they try to grab. So what do developers look at? What's the pain point that they're trying to solve?
Right.
Like Vivek mentioned, customer is that fourth C. That's very important. What problem of the customer is it solving? So just to tell you, I'm sure you're aware that we had actually jumped into this bandwagon quite some time back. When 8 years back, Brigade had set up this REAP to promote, to accelerate, to bolster the startups which are dealing with real estate related issues and not only real estate, construction related things. In fact, we've just started a fund also, the Earth Fund, which helps in investing in any startups that again are linked to real estate or sustainability related solutions. But what do they look at? Like, of course, like again, like Arvind mentioned, they should have been established a little bit. They should have been proven. We can't just put funds, any capital, any person who's investing has to see the promise in that and what problem it's solving. So there has to be a true set problem and uh, the solution that it's bringing to the table, where then the capital can be sort of given.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Visha. As Arvind spoke, right, do you think that all these startups are struggling to scale because of all the issues? How do you see them, what they should do to scale up?
So I think stability and sustainability, in the sense not the green sustainability I'm saying, they need to be sustainable in what they're providing their solutions. So I think one of the panelists also mentioned how to, I think Arvind only, integrating into the larger system. Whether they're able to integrate, if it's a standalone solution, it's not going to help. Maybe a developer would feel, yeah, let's try it out. It can resolve some issue, or it can be something, some novelty that I can try it out for my customer. But it has to integrate in the larger system. See, I'll just tell you, for example, we've been using what's called Quick Spec. I don't know if anyone is there from Quick Spec in the audience. We've been using it for some years. So it solves the problem of when the apartments are getting ready, de-snagging those and ensuring that they're tracked well and the snagging happens. So that tracking of the apartment being ready for a handover for a delivery. So it's solving a huge problem. Way back prior to that, the engineers were probably doing an Excel sheet, noting down in a register, or they would have graduated to an Excel sheet sort of thing, without any proper tracking mechanism. So this also helps in any changes that have been done in an apartment, modifications, that sort of a thing. So that's a sustainable solution that has to go on. And of course, they have to see what sort of problems are emerging, what sort of changes are required, and work on that.
Right. Thanks, Visha. Vivek.
I would add two things to it. Like, I think the holistic view is very critical.
Right.
You are solving a niche area, but you should have a holistic view to the system, the industry, your ecosystem. That when that is missing, scalability doesn't happen.
Right. So are you saying that they should spend a lot of time in understanding the organization?
Yes. Because if you have 20 tools or systems,
right,
that's a different complexity than for the organization also.
Right. Great. Vivek, thanks, Arvind. Vivek, how do you see these PropTechs scaling? What are those issues, fundamental issues, which they should look at?
See, I'll tell you from a B2C perspective and B2B perspective. First,
right,
let's talk about B2B perspective. Since most of the startups here, they are, I believe, mostly B2B, providing their solutions to developers and agents. So, see, scaling in B2B through subscription, especially in India, I feel it's very challenging. Because first of all, there are limited number of developers. If your solution is targeted towards developer and you're charging some subscription fees per month, right, you can scale up to a certain level only. Then there are agents. Agents in India, unfortunately, they are not in a position to pay too much for subscription. So most of the startups that have focused their solutions on agents, they have not been able to scale up. So in B2B, if you want to scale up, I believe you have to tie up your revenue with the success of the developer, right? For example, a transaction-based fees like what Akhil charges, you charge a transaction-based fee per referral, right? So when you tie up your success with the success of developer, they are used to that model, right? So the more sales you bring or the more cost that you save from them and you charge a percentage of that rather than subscription fees, that is a way to scale up. Second is your solution globally relevant or not, right? What you are building in India is, okay, you have test marketed your solution in India,
right,
but the real scale up in terms of monetization would happen in overseas market, whether it's GCC, US or other markets, right? Where the stakeholders, they are ready to pay that kind of money for a subscription-based software. So my advice is that if you're building for B2B, in India, you tie up your revenue with on a success-based model or a revenue-based model, right? or you go global. That's the two way to scale up for B2B.
Right.
For B2C, unfortunately, there is no set criteria because you need a lot of firepower in terms of resources, in terms of capital to really scale up a B2C company. But there have been umpteen examples in other industries where B2C companies have been scaled up. Someone from the other panel was giving an example of MyGate, right? So it has been able to scale up because it has solved a very crucial, critical problem of customers, right? So if you are solving for B2C and you don't have too much capital, try to look for a problem which is not a vitamin kind of thing. It should be a painkiller. So if your solution is a painkiller for the customer, you would be able to scale up, and obviously there will be competitors who would be following up, but I think the distribution works in those cases.
Great. Thanks, Vivek. Akhil, I'll come to you. Again, you've been doing a lot of work. So how do you see all the PropTechs in this industry?
So, like Vivek did, I'll break it up into two parts, right? So the B2B challenge and the B2C challenge. The way we see it is that B2B, the challenges come across closing the deal, the long life cycle that it takes to do that. As Arvind also pointed out, the integrations is a special kind of PTSD for me. Like the amount we've dealt with this is ridiculous because we are integrated into the CRMs and ERPs, and it's insane, right? Like we found developers who've not had the payment history of customers, right? Like customers have paid into their bank account, money is just lying in suspense account, right? Like that level of disorganization. So you are in for a surprise if you want to integrate on that side. The other side of the challenge is also on the payment side, right? So builders are notorious to pay very, very slowly, right? So the cycles of payments is much longer than what you traditionally expect, and or in any other industry, and that also causes a lot of cash flow mismatch for you as a company that's building up, right? Especially when you're putting in your own capital. I was bootstrapped for like 7 years before I got in, and trust me, the pain is real, right? Like I clearly there's some yeah, right. So I'm just being real, guys. Like the other side is the B2C side. So accessing customers in the home owning journey is a point in time problem, right? So a customer is only buying a house once. So the home loan transactions happening once, home interior transactions happening once in their life. There's no data set that exists which you can directly market to, right? So it's incredibly hard to target the right customer at the right time. Here, because we've solved the problem, and I believe in a Android-like approach where this should be a platform that's open to all. I invite all of you guys, right? Like if you guys have a real problem, we have 2.2 lakh live real customers from different builders. All our builders are looking to give solutions to their customers, right? If you solve a real pain point, integrate with us. It's a simple integration, simple tech stack, and we'll go tell the developer what problem you're solving and we'll solve it together, right? I'm happy to do that and push this industry forward.
Absolutely. Thanks, Akhil.
I think I would a little beg to differ that, builders don't pay. So I would put it in a different way. Builders are, value conscious. What value you are bringing on table, with your solution? Are you showing that value? You will get the money. If the value is not there, you will have a struggle.
I agree with you, Arvind, on this.
Just to add what Arvind mentioned. So also the developers would see what's the efficiency you're getting to the table, what's the productivity, how is it increasing. So Akhil, we've been working with you, and so I don't have to say anything more.
The other thing, one small thing I want to touch on. Let's see, it's like services industry today.
Right.
You talk about cybersecurity, you will have 2,000 companies standing at your door just solving cybersecurity.
Right.
It's like system integration. You will have another 2,000 company doing system integration. What is the niche? How you are differentiating yourself with others?
Right.
That also is a critical part.
Great.
Uber, was there, Ola born. Still now Ola is struggling, Uber is still sustaining. Right. Why? So someone has to understand, that niche differentiator, which maybe Uber has, Ola doesn't has.
Right. Great. Thanks, Arvind. I think we are close to closure on this topic, but quick to conclude, quick 2 lines on how the future would look like for capital, concrete, and technology, if I have to call it. So what do you think, Viswa?
Sure. So like I mentioned at the beginning, I mean, all the three go together. Concrete definitely has to be there to have all this. But without capital, where's the scale? We won't get that. And tech to stay ahead of the game.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Vivek?
I think there is another player in the room, which is AI, which has come up recently. I would say the way it is penetrating all aspects of our life. I'll give you a quick 2 examples. Most of our content generation has moved to AI. Almost 20% of our pre-sales calls have moved to AI. So if you look at the next 3-4 years, I think AI would have a huge role to play in all aspects of life, in all processes. We better be prepared for it.
Great. Thanks, Vivek. It's anyway controversial topic, but yeah, Akhil.
So,
your view on
guys, PropTech is huge, right? It's a $300 billion industry. The allocation towards IT is minimal, and there is scope for a tremendous growth, right? Like, this is a high margin, high scope sector. It just needs the right model. So if you're going to translate what works in FMCG to real estate, which is literally the slowest moving consumer good, that's not going to work, right? So you have to factor in for the unique nature of this transaction, which is a high value, low volume transaction. If you solve for that, you'll make money.
I think AI he has stolen. Blockchain is another area. I think in specifically this industry, there are a lot of use cases which will be solved by blockchain. So example could be like a shared space that is easily can be easily sold if we get into blockchain arrangements.
All right. Great. Thanks, Arvind. So what all of you are saying is basically if you have a good tech in place, you would get capital and it is very easy to construct. Is that conclusion good for all of you?
I hate to break this, but can we have some conversation for the lunch session as well?
Concrete, you want to run a concrete business without concrete, how it can possible? And capital you need. You can't launch a property without capital.
Great. So everything is interdependent.
Everything, yeah, everything.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
It's been a great...
Everybody, can I have a round of applause for all the gentlemen out here? Is the energy still high or is starts giving you decaf? Can I have some round of applause, please? If the energy is low, there is lunch to be served by 245 people. Okay, so, and can I have the guest? Okay. Can I have Kritika from RealtyNXT hand over the token of appreciation for the panelist and the moderator? Everybody with coffee in them, a round of applause when the photographers are happening. And I want you to do a countdown for the photographers over here. Okay, we do a countdown for 5. When they take a photographer, they just have 3 seconds to actually take the pictures. Okay, can I have the count, please? 5, 4. Am I the only one? Are you okay with this? Louder. 3, 2. I'm the only one. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, moderator.